Welcome to the Chapter 8 module video. The title of this chapter is Organizing Jobs, Departments, and Organization. And it's a chapter review that I would like to present so that you can have a little better idea of how the chapter is laid out. As you probably don't recall, but you might recall that in Chapter 1, it defined organization as a group of people working together to achieve goals and objectives. Organizing is the process of creating the organization. So you have an organization, and then you have the organizing which creates that organization. And this chapter is about the organizing. A good way to look at each chapter is to look at the chapter outline on the first page of each chapter. The chapter outline section for this chapter is on page 219 and gives us a good way to look at what the chapter is all about. It shows that the chapter is divided into two main areas. The first four items in the outline is about organizing, the process of creating an organization. The last five items are about organizational structure, and this is for an organization that has been created through the act of organizing. So the first four sections of the chapter are about creating an organization, and the last five are about the various types of organization structures that this process may have produced. The organizing section, the first four, are described as follows. It begins with an introduction into organizing. Then it talks about the nature of organizing. Then it talks about grouping tasks into jobs and determining authority and relationships. The grouping tasks into jobs is an interesting terminology that you need to become familiar with. The most elemental thing in any organization is a task. A task is, for example, putting a fender on the side of a car if it's on an assembly line. So one person does a particular task. When you organize these tasks into a job, the job might be to assemble the automobile. So all the various tasks, putting all the parts together, come together to create a job. The fourth one that I mentioned was determining authority relationships. And this is very important because one of the biggest problems that organizations have is the proper relationship between responsibility and authority. If you give someone a responsibility to do something, they must also have the authority, or at least be able to exercise authority in a certain area. The last five items in the chapter deal with the organizational structure. This is what the organizing process has produced. And the five tasks or sections are called Organizational Structure Introduction, Latent Structures. The latent structures are very interesting because they're on page 242. It shows a continuum going all the way from mechanistic to the other end of organic. So the latent structure varies from mechanical to organic. Mechanical is very regimented, routine way of doing things. Organic is more free-formed, free-flowing, people loosely organized together and making much wider decisions. So latent structure is a very good way to describe the rigidity or maybe the looseness of an organization. And it's shown as a continuum because while you have those two extremes at each end, in general, most organizations fall somewhere along that line. They may be towards the mechanized, or they may be towards the organic, but they may not be all the way there. And then it talks about factors affecting organizational structure. That's the third one in this area. It talks about coordinating different parts of an organization. And the last item is structural configuration types. And actually our homework is based on this last section. The first assessment is similar to the ones we've had in the past. It is a quiz. It has 2 true and false and 3 multiple choice questions. And as all quizzes will be from now on, they will be very similar to the in nature to the midterm and the final, in that you only have one attempt to take the quiz. So you must be careful that when you, before you submit your quiz, that you've carefully checked each answer to be sure it's the best answer you can provide. When you finish and you submit the quiz, you will be able to see the correct and incorrect answers, but you won't be able to change them. The second assessment is the homework assignment assessment. The assignment is that you are to read Chapter 8 and create an original essay, minimum word count of 400 words, on the subject of organizational structures, organizational structure types. The first paragraph of your essay should attempt to answer the following question: what's the best way to structure an organization? There is a section of the text that discusses this. In the second paragraph, describe in a few sentences each of the 5 types of structures in an organization. So while there are 5 different types, and I'd like you to write 2 or 3 sentences about each one. Please boldface or underline the names of each type in this paragraph so that it will increase the readability. In the third paragraph, I want you to tell what makes Google a good example of an adhocracy type of organization. Why does it seem to work so well for them? In the fourth paragraph, tell me why it works well for Walmart to be a divisionalized form of organization. They are given as an example of a divisionized organization, and you'll probably need to do some internet research to determine what are Walmart divisions. If you don't know what they're talking about when they say they have a division, then you're going to have a difficult time answering that question correctly. Be sure to indicate the total word count in a separate line of your essay at the end. And then the last part of the module is to participate in the discussion for Module 10, Chapter 8, feedback and comments. Share with me and other students any comments, questions, suggestions you might have relating to any of the tasks in this module. I read all of these and reply to those that require a reply. I've been looking through some of these and I've noticed that the ones where your students make comments to each other about, for example, there was one about when somebody said they had taken the midterm. They were one of the first people that took it, and they commented that they had plenty of time. And I'm sure that this was something that was very important to others before they took the midterm, to know that there was not going to be a severe time pressure, that somebody had already gone through it and had found that there was plenty of time. So that kind of assistance to your fellow students is very useful, and I appreciate you doing that. I want to thank you and wish you good luck with this module, and I'll see you again soon.